Right. So thank you for asking for that. I'm sorry, there are too many things to discuss. Yes, we developers just also don't know everything, and we need your input as experts. For instance, Alexander has made one seasonal constellation where an emu is showing its legs or not, depending on the season, whether it's seen to breed low in the sky or whether it's running over the sky. This depends on the season. It's also the breeding season of the emu, which is quite a funny thing. Or we have morning and evening stars in Europe. I don't know about other planetary aspects otherwhere in the world. Some cultures realize or recognize Venus as different things, either as a morning star or as an evening star. They're different entities. They're not the same thing. In Europe, we know it's just the same planet. Maybe there are different seasonal star names. I don't know about these. Some cultures may have that. So we need to code that in some way. As said, we could think of showing different sky cultures as they develop. Just as I have made the 3D models, also time aware that you always show the same, the correct building phase with the correct sky, and not have the, let's say, Stone Age Stonehenge with the modern time, because nowadays it's ruins of Stonehenge. Yeah, so we don't know about all the needs that you may have and you may find in your own work. We have some ideas. For instance, the zodiacal constellations. We have many wishes by people, please highlight the zodiacal constellations. And others says, don't do that, that's astrology. It is not astrology, it's a coordinate system. It's just ecliptical coordinates, it's nothing else, just a different name for that. Now, in the discussion versus and against astrology, people say, it's not 12 constellations, it's 13 constellations along the ecliptic. Should we show 12 or 13? Well, we can discuss about that, whether we should highlight them at all. Or other cultures, in India, we have the sidereal zodiac and not the tropical zodiac. So counting the numbers is different along the ecliptic. We need to map that. Or, especially in Asia, there is the lunar mansions in many of the Asian cultures, different partition of the constellations along the ecliptic, so different ecliptical constellations that are used as lunar stations, and there are different aspects to see them. Are they stick figures or are they regions in the sky? There are different cultures which adhere to different traditions. We need to know more about that. Maybe there are other constellation groups. We could think about the 3 ways of the Mesopotamian sky, or also highlight those. It's up to us to define new things. As I said, the dark constellations, I've just heard that they are already in the web version. We don't have them yet. I know it should be easy to just make outlines of the dark clouds, like we already have in the deep sky objects. We can also draw outlines for dark features. We can do the same for these dark constellations. Or the Arab sky cultures, which may have single star constellations. We need to mark those because they are just not stick figures. It's just one star with a name tag attached to that. And maybe we can just circle the star like we do now for the navigational star plugin that just highlights 33 stars or so. Yeah. And the worst thing are indeed the translational things. Do we need all the names? What happens when we show star names from a different culture? Should we add also the European names that everybody knows, or should we just confine ourselves to the traditional star names? Will a European user recognize the other stars if he's not so firm with the constellations? So maybe we have to really display both names, or make it available to display both names, or just one name. There are many open questions here to see, and also what kind of we need when you translate a figure name. For instance, there was when we had the Ojibwe and Dakota sky cultures, there was one figure that was the name was given as Blue Birth Woman. Now, what is that? If I don't have the context, if I don't have the information what this figure means to the culture, I cannot translate that. Is that a woman giving birth and she's blue because of some medical issues, or is it a birth goddess that you can call for help, for assistance to suppress the pain? I don't know that. I cannot translate that properly. And there was another one from some constellation from South America, snake large anus. Now, is it really that, or is it a mistranslation in the first place? It turns out it really is that. Some people may have difficulties finding the correct translation for that one. So, so indeed, it is not so easy to make that also with a public, with 1,000 people helping in translating online. As you can translate the user interface, but you may not be able to translate, to find the correct names and correct translations for all the constellations. Now, when we display something on the screen, it would be cool, wouldn't it, to have an Egyptian constellation pattern with the hieroglyph labels. If the hieroglyphs are in Unicode, that's fine. Or if you have a Mesopotamian constellation with the cuneiform labels. For experts, this would be fantastic. For a European user, I couldn't use it because I couldn't read it, but it looks cool. Yeah, so who could read it, but not me. So I would need a transliteration, of course, attached to that. So it may be fantastic to have the original code and the transliteration. Of course, the transliteration depends on the user language. I know Arab names, if they are transliterated into English or French or German, they're different. Character sets used for that are different transliterations. Then you need a translation. You need a contextual translation to know. We have some sky cultures where we have the names given in English string, but we don't know the meaning. So I know about some Indian names. It is Prilva something and Uttara something. I think it's first and second, but I don't know the rest of the word. So I would like to have some more information about these names to understand what the original culture means. If it's just Red Star, or is it a proper name like Peter? We just don't know that when we don't have good information. So the author of the sky culture is responsible for providing really good information, translatable information, and allowing us to really make a proper representation of that sky culture also in the Stellarium sky. Yeah, well, this is our attempt at giving a first overview of whether this is a high quality thing or just something that has been put onto Stellarium 15 years ago and has terrible lacking information, lacking references, and was just an idea from somebody, or whether it's good for high quality work. Yeah, so the lunar stations, we need that to define. We've just seen the in the new thing. We have abused the asterism feature to depict lunar stations. That's a
the borders, the borderline.
Yeah, in the Chinese sky cultures, we have abused the borders as lunar stations, but I think these are different entities. So we should define what's a lunar station and how to draw that properly. So we are at the moment we're abusing existing features in order to best fit, to make best use of the data, but it's still something else. Yeah, so these are most of the things that we think need improvement, but we, well, just need these improvements. And yeah, so the quality of the things that can be presented in Stellarium is essentially governed by the quality that contributors provide to us. These were these crucial parts.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, but also challenging. Yeah. Because, for example, one point is the difficulty for the collaborators, for the experts of all communities, especially to make all of this in these very special formats. Maybe it would be very useful to develop a more easy way for people that are not expert in computer languages to put sky cultures. I think especially in community, young people and elders working together in different parts of the world, especially in Latin America, that are very interested in develop their sky culture in a way that are autonomous from other people, but they need a more easy way to do it.
I want to suggest for issues like that, you're absolutely right. that tomorrow in the afternoon we have the 1 hour reserved scheduled for discussions, workshop-like discussions. And I would suggest that for questions like this, how to really practically do something, what are your wishes or do you think what people need and so on, that should be discussed with Georg and Fabien and Guina and me tomorrow in that extra session, because I think it takes much more time than we have in these 5 minutes discussions, and we can make something really good here because we have the expertise of various fields. So let's take this question and keep it for tomorrow.
I was able to say the same thing, because I think we did this for my language, Kannada from India. They're already on Stellarium. And I think I was witness to all the long discussions you had in putting it there, and starting from the language, Unicode fonts, everything. It was a lot of problems. But now it's working, so many users are making this.
Yeah, I said there are lots of different aspects and different problems and different tiny things that somebody know about and somebody just don't know about. And it is, it's multifaceted. But the first I've just seen, you just presented that you are working on an online tool basically for input of sky cultures. That would be a great help in this respect. And Ruslan just made a plugin for the desktop version to place photographs into the sky. It's not done yet, but he's working on that. This would be excellent to fit drawings into the sky as well. So this is a wonderful idea. I had this idea 10 years ago. Wouldn't it be great to just fix your photographs interactively or fix your drawings interactively? If that can be extended in this way, would be great.
Short sessions is in groups from the Paris, whatever, Milky Way group, because in many southern hemisphere systems, the constellations or asterisms of many types are grouped along the group.
Okay, yeah, okay, that's another highlight group. Yeah, sure.
About the difference between constellation and asterism, I think it's not so clear, because maybe in your definition, the Chinese constellation should be regarded as asterism because they don't have images.
Yes.
In the in about Han Dynasty, in the tomb, a lot of paintings about the constellation of Han. They use figures to describe, to fit the constellation, even some very small constellations. So, just because in the later dynasties, images are abandoned.
So this is culture with figures, with drawings of persons and so on, or
paintings in the cave, in a tomb.
Yeah,
paintings of constellations. So like on the marble below for the Greek culture. So then we can just take these images and map them.
Yeah. I think it might be possible to create to put the images onto the Chinese constellation. It's
okay. Yeah.
At least a part of the constellations.
Wonderful.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That would be very interesting, like what we did here.
The distinction between constellations and asterisms in Stellarium is based on the modern terminology, where we say we have constellations that are 88 constellations in the sky, nothing else, and all these sub-figures are called asterisms. This is a modern term. I know. I would leave it at that. The point is the format of the asterisms in Stellarium at the moment does not allow a figure, a drawing. But of course, we could add a great wagon into the European sky.
Why not?
Why not? So I say why not? So these classes, but it remains the term asterism, right? And as we try to reharmonize these things, we just have to take this into account to re-add what Alexander has thrown away into the asterisms, to allow also artwork in the asterisms, and allow better translatability to the asterisms, because there's also some things missing. Yeah,
Lines, the asterisms, maybe.
yeah, the lines are there, but yeah,
To give an implementation process, when you want to stay wet and for which you look.
yeah,
If you stay all the asterisks all the time, overlap with every place, then we.
Yes. yeah. I would.
Anyway, it doesn't make a difference. It's doing for solution. What do you want to stay?
We have the asterisms also with references given. So I would also work with the reference file to say I would only like to show the asterisms given in these books and omit these strange asterisms that I don't like. So having the user select on which references should be displayed. I think that's a valid thing also for star names. I don't want the star names from this JPL list because it's of no use for other users. It's interesting to have them, but usually they're not practical.
So in some, we have to define the terminology or for whom I want to tell something. I mean, for instance, for amateur astronomers, asterism is what you've shown, the cloak holder or something like that. But for in the literature of Chinese historical astronomy, asterism is a term for either single star asterism, like Arcturus in the Greek culture, or a multi-star asterism, which can be a whole constellation, a super constellation. So the usage of the term really depends on the community to which you speak. And that is why we have problems here. We have to define that once, maybe in the user guide, I don't know. But this is what I don't think that this is what we really have to discuss because it's only terminology. What we really have to define is the truth behind, which is the code or what we display at what occasion, and have the users to select. But I think I would like to close this discussion here now for this first, say, opening session. And would encourage you to discuss further in the coffee break,